This is ferriPhoenix channel. Please subscribe, okay? And leave your thumbs up. Yes!
Hey, what's up guys? Now today we're going to be talking about a very sensitive issue. How do we talk to kids, especially toddlers, about the death of a loved one, especially if that loved one was a parent, as it is in my case. Now, I know that this is an issue that a lot of people don't know how to deal with, such as myself. And so I found some information that was very helpful, is still very helpful, as to how to deal with this situation. So go ahead and watch it, and if this is something that you are dealing with or struggling with as well, I think this will help. And let me know your thoughts of how you deal with it, or God forbid if you've ever had to deal with it. But it's always wise to prepare ourselves for this, because we just never know what life is going to throw at us. We didn't know that Jacob's father was going to die. We don't know what life has to offer. So it's better to educate ourselves so that in the event of stuff like this happening, that we'll be prepared for it.
Telling children about the death of a loved one probably feels like the hardest thing in the world right now, especially when you may be shocked by the news yourself. It's completely understandable to want to protect children from this devastating news, but they do need to know what has happened. Even very young children notice when adults are upset or distracted, and they will be looking for an explanation. It's best to tell them the news as soon as possible, so they're not left worrying about what's going on. Step 1. Preparing yourself. If there is another adult at home with you, it's probably helpful to share the news with them first so that you can talk to the children together. Take a few moments to breathe as slowly and deeply as you can to help you focus. Step 2. Preparing the information. Take a minute to think about what each of the children know about their relative's illness so far. How much do you think they understand about illness and death? Step 3. Preparing the environment. Think about where in the house you want to talk to the children. If they have a special toy or comforter, see if you can have this to hand. If you have more than one child, decide whether you want to tell them together or one at a time. Can younger children be distracted with a TV or a toy, for instance, while you talk to the older sibling? Step 4. Starting the conversation. Ask the children to stop what they're doing and come and sit down. This will help prepare them for the conversation to come. Try to speak as slowly as you can and pause between sentences. Remember that people often speak quickly when they are upset or nervous. Counting to 3 in your head can help to slow you down. Step 5. Explaining what has happened. To avoid any confusion, you should be very clear that the person has died. You can use whatever word your family prefers when talking about death, but using euphemisms like gone to sleep or passed away can be confusing for children. You might say something like, Dad got more and more poorly after he went to hospital. The doctors gave Dad all the help they could, but nothing worked. They just couldn't make him better, so he died. After you've told the children that their relative has died, pause for a few seconds to allow them to take in what you have said. Silences are okay. Wait until you feel the children are ready for more information. Remember that when children are upset, it makes it harder for them to take in information. For younger children, you may need to repeat that the person has died and explain that this means they cannot come back. Nana has died. That means that every part of her body has stopped working. So her heart has stopped beating, her brain has stopped thinking, and she doesn't feel any pain. Nothing can mend her body, and she can't ever come back. For older children, you can give more details about what caused their relative to get ill and then die, e.g. COVID-19 infected their lungs, and so not enough oxygen could get into their body. Step 6. Coping with children's reaction to the news. Children can have many different reactions. They might cry or shout, refuse to believe what has happened, or go very quiet. Younger children may focus much more on the practical aspects, like who will play with them, or they might not show any immediate reaction. This is normal and doesn't mean they didn't hear what you said. You might say things like, "I know this is very, very sad. It's hard to take it all in. This is sad and upsetting to think about, but it's better that we share our feelings and talk about our worries rather than struggling with it alone. It's okay to talk about how upsetting this news is for you. Sharing your own feelings can be helpful, but remember that children might find it frightening to see you completely overwhelmed with distress. It can be useful to name your emotion. For example, explain that you're crying because you feel sad." Step 7. Preparing for children's common questions. Children often want to know what caused the death. They can worry that it was their fault, even though they don't say so. It is important to repeat that it was nobody's fault. They were cared for by the medical team who did everything they could to help their relative. The children may also ask if you are going to die, if they are going to die, and who will look after them. Remind them that they have family and friends who love and care for them. Ask them if they have any more questions. I know this has been a very difficult conversation. There has been a lot to take in. Is there anything you want me to explain more about now? Step 8. Finishing the conversation. It can be helpful for children to have somebody to talk to from outside of the family. Children may also need help telling their friends about what has happened. Shall we think about whether you'd like me to tell your friends, or is that something you want to do yourself? Reassure them they will not have to manage this alone. I know this must feel really difficult. What I know for sure is that I love you very much. We will get through this together, whatever the future holds.
Okay. Thanks for watching.